Meanwhile, the expanded definition of unemployment decreased marginally to 12.2 million. At the same time, the number of discouraged work seekers hiked by 5% to 160,000. Siyabulela Mama from the Assembly of the Unemployed speaks to us now about these developments. Thank you so much for your time, Siyabulela. At around May earlier this year, you indicated that you are unhappy and dismayed by the rate of youth unemployment in particular in this country. What's your reaction this time around?
Well, it goes back to the point that we always make around how misleading can the narrow definition of unemployment can be, and that we need to disabuse ourselves from the notion of the narrow definition and the conservative statistics that is provided by the narrow definition of unemployment, and look at the expanded definition of unemployment. Because if we look, by the way, 3.4 million discouraged work seekers have increased. I mean, not to mention the increase quarter to quarter of 160,000. If you look at this at the rate of year to year, it's 199,000 that it has increased by. So this tells and it paints a different picture than what is presented. And if we look further into provinces, by the way, 3.5 increase of unemployment rate in the Eastern Cape, 1.1 in KZN, not to mention the 0.3% in Northwest, in Mpumalanga, 1.1 and 1.2 in Limpopo. So this paints a broader picture of the crisis that we face and how we're sitting at this ticking time bomb of this crisis of unemployment.
And part of the broader picture that you've just outlined is the lived experience compared to what we get in terms of data readings from the likes of Stats SA. Your constituency, what picture really are they painting in terms of day-to-day lives as an unemployed individual in South Africa?
So, and this is another issue that we have to faced with. So I just came from a meeting in Mpumalanga, and a comrade in Cape Town shared that he received a message from his neighbor saying she doesn't have food to feed her children. She doesn't have food to feed herself. She needs help. And this is a situation that many South Africans are dealing with, not to mention what we're seeing, the crisis of stunting that we're seeing in the Eastern Cape, where children are hospitalized because of malnutrition and stunting. So against this backdrop, you see the serious living conditions of people deteriorating every day. And this is why we're calling for a basic income grant that it's upper bound poverty line, because this situation begs for this idea.
Does that call still hold water under a government of national unity, especially as we are seeing that economic sentiment is improving, but as you've just explained, the story is really of South Africans living under the poverty line, and if you're talking about stunted growth within children, then the country is producing a cohort of individuals that may not actively work as professionals.
Yeah, so if you actually take a look at the case between Samanco, and I always make this reference, that there's the case between Samanco and the AIDC and AMCU around how Samanco is taking away out of South Africa over 45 billion rands. And this is money that could be redirected to funding a basic income grant. So, and also, if you look at the kind of work, okay, there's also the issue that's not specified, there's no more information about around the community service work that has increased. But if you look at the current work that has been provided, it's actually work that is precarious, it's casualized, and this is how the nature of work is. And this is why this idea of a basic income grant holds water, and especially how the youth spend over 2,000, by the way, looking for work. And this is an idea that we really need, and it holds water beyond the crisis of that we have of this current government of national unity.